Hello everyone, good morning, welcome back. This is Divya Kawatra, your educator. How are you all doing? Hi everyone, good morning, very good morning. All good? Well, alright, welcome back everyone. So we are meeting again to discuss today's newspaper, that is 17th of July. And if you're joining for the first time, let me tell you about the session a little bit. And we meet every day at 8:30 a.m. live, and in that we discuss the Hindu newspaper, PIB section, as well as editorials through mind map and some practice questions. That is the pattern of our session, and just to watch and let's begin. All right, shall we? Okay, let's begin with our first news. Are you all ready? Okay, good morning, very good morning everyone. So number one news that we have is frame policy for release of aged terminally ill inmates. Supreme Court has given state a guideline that you should be framing a policy for people who are aged or terminally ill in the jail. All right. They have given a guideline as to what kind of framework you should have and how you can draw it. All that has been given by Supreme Court. Let's discuss the good and the bads associated with this. First of all, what are the Supreme Court directives? They've said that uniform policy has been ordered, that all the states and UTs should formulate or notify a comprehensive uniform policy for premature or early release of elderly or terminally ill prisoners within 3 months. What is the timeline that has been given? Within 3 months they have to do that. For whom? Elderly or terminally ill. Elderlies or terminally ill. Varun River tributary. Okay, very nice. You did the homework? Very good. Nope, must not do it. Okay, I can sense strong feelings coming from you. If Supreme Court is saying that, there must be a reason behind it. First, let's understand that. And I understand why you are saying that, because obviously we think that at this age, if you release them, will their family take care of them? Right, such questions arise, but we'll come to that. First of all, let's see what the guidelines are. Maybe they have done something to protect them. Okay, let's understand that first. So the bench has ordered, this was passed by a division bench comprising Justice Vikram Nath and Sandeep Mehta. Institutional coordination, they've said that this must be drafted with respect to SALSA and NALSA. Okay, so that effective institutional coordination can be done. They have defined terminal illness, like when do you say somebody is terminally ill? If they are elderly, they are going to die. Any illness is terminal. Any illness becomes terminal. So how do you define terminal illness? So they've said that to incorporate a clear uniform definition. Whatever policy you make, you should clearly define what terminal illness means so that there is no confusion regarding that. First directive that Supreme Court has given. All right. The second thing they are saying is that the definition can come from UN docs or our own health departments. Then you have independent medical boards as well. States and UTs should set up independent medical boards so that they can assess and certify advanced medical vulnerability or terminal illness that is based on uniform eligibility criteria, right? So they should have a medical board that will test all these things, whether the person is sick or not, how the terminal illness is defined. They will make a judgment whether they are terminally ill or not, right? Then we will have technological support. Government in coordination with national informatics centers should provide technical assistance, digital infrastructure, software support and training to states and UTs for maintaining such records and updating all the data regarding this, regarding all the jails and inmates that are there. Clear? These are the guidelines Supreme Court has given. But alongside that, we also think about the issue like where is this coming from? Why is court saying that? The background or underlying issue is that NALSA put up a petition, right? This came in as in response to NALSA's petition. You know NALSA, National Legal Service Authority, as SALSA, that is State Legal Service Authority. It doesn't actually become SALSA, but then again for ease we pronounce it NALSA and SALSA. Alright. So NALSA is, what is NALSA? National Legal Service Authority. What is SALSA? State Legal Service Authority. Alright. So the National Legal Service Authority that we have, they put in a petition they put in a petition with the court saying that prison inspections revealed a lack of common framework for any such release. Like there is no framework as to how they can be released, and we should have a framework regarding that. Okay, so they put forward a petition that we as India should also put up this, because throughout the world other people also have it. Throughout the world other nations also have it, and we as a nation should also do it. Alright, so the petition came and they saw that severe overcrowding is there. They said that in Indian prisons there is severe overcrowding because they face average occupancy rate of 131%. Just imagine, occupancy rate is 131%. That means almost double of what is necessary or what is allowed, right? Exactly. This is done. So they said that this is a humanitarian concern, because if they facilitate the release of these, a critical humanitarian concern, because prison authorities are generally ill-equipped. They cannot provide the specialized care that these people need by terminally ill or elderly inmates, because at this age they need special attention. At this age they need special attention. Now in jail they cannot get the best special services, right? Nobody will come and serve them. Nobody will do anything for them. They will have to still keep working to make their daily wage, to keep their schedule going. And if they're not in the condition to do that, they should be released. They should be released sorry, so that outside of the jail they can have better services. This is what they petitioned. What are the next steps? Compliance affidavit has been given. They must file the compliance affidavit within 6 months, detailing the number of eligible prisoners that have been identified, because they've given 3 months. 3 months to prepare the list of who is to be released, and within 6 months you prepare that data, give a compliance affidavit to the court saying that every state will come up with an idea that okay, this is the number of inmates that are to be released in our state and we are releasing them. The court will give a final say to that. Okay, so this is to be done, whose cases remain under consideration also. And the next hearing for the matter is given for January 19, 2027. But it has not been finalized. They've given a guideline and there will be a next hearing and everything will be decided then. But this brings to light a factor that you kept them in jail. If you are saying that there are people whose matters are still not given a final decision, right? On the matters, those whose case still remain under consideration, even those people are to be released. Just imagine, you put them in without taking their case. Because of your pendency, they stayed in the jail. They might be innocent also, right? When you take up their case, only then you will realize whether they are culprits or innocent. They might be innocent, but you have put them in jail. And according to the stigma Indian society has, anybody who has come back from jail, even if it is just for a theft, they will consider the person capable of murder. That is the mentality. People get scared of them, right? They tell their children not to talk to these people, right? And do you think people will allow an elderly who only needs care now to come into home with the fear that they have their children in the home and they won't be able to leave their children with him ever, right? They will never feel safe for their children. Such an elderly will people bring back home? If they don't, do you have such elderly capacities like we have old age homes, etc., or hospitals? Do you have such capacity to take care of them outside of the jail? So the problem here is they're not considering what would happen to them after you release them, right? After you release them, what would happen to them? Can't they be taken to hospital and then come back to jail? Exactly. There should be some other option, and the people should be given the option whether to go or not. Because if they are going, that is forceful, and if their family doesn't take them in, if the family doesn't accept them, how will they survive? How will they survive? At this age, if they are terminally ill, obviously they cannot work. They won't be able to work hard outside of the jail, and they will not have somebody to take care of them. They will not have a roof on their head. Nobody will be providing them food, clothes, care, anything. At least here they have a roof, they get the clothes, they get a basic food facility at least. Most of them would not even be willing to go. because now there is a high chance that most of them are staying there whose families have not visited for years, whose families have not even tried to visit them for years and years, and they've forgotten them because they thought they are at such an old age that they will die in jail. Most of the families stopped coming to visit them because they thought that they are at such age, they will die here, why bother, let them die, right? So at that point, do you think we're doing good to them, or doing good for them, or actually just making their life very difficult just because we want to solve the problem of our overcrowding? This is just us taking the benefit of this under the name of good guidance. We are taking the benefit of this to drop down the overcrowding and make it look very good. But it is not good. It is not good. And most of the cases are unresolved. People will not accept them. Society will not accept them. Their families might not accept them. What will you do then? You don't have much services. You don't have that many government-owned or NGOs-owned old age homes. And they also have criterias. They also have criterias. They won't be taking inmates, right? Exactly. Very difficult, very difficult. So the negatives of this are very high. So I really hope that in the next hearing, court decides not to do this. And I hope some of the activists, like you and me, we also can just write a complaint regarding this, write a complaint, you know that, right? You can also write to Supreme Court regarding this and put forward your opinion. Citizens are allowed to do that. You can also do that. I can also do that. We will do that. Be an active citizen and do that for them. Text your concerns and let them know that this might not be a very good decision. You need to come up with some other solutions as well. You can do this, but then provide a solution also. Create old age homes for them. Create medical care facilities for them. Give them the benefits of all your yojnas and everything. Give them the hospitalization cards. Give them facilities. Put that provision here, because states will not do this on their own. State will not do this on their own. You will have to put it here, right? Compliance of medical necessity as the condone to take benefits from this is very high. Exactly. Clear. So there are many problems. But then again, let's see what happens. There's still another hearing on the matter. There is another consideration on January 19, 2027. They will again consider. Once they have the list, then they will consider what to do with whom. Okay. So we'll see what happens, but until then, I do hope they take a better decision. All right, moving on to the next article. Shall we? Yesterday we discussed regarding export and import. Day before yesterday we discussed regarding inflation. Retail inflation going 4.4%. Do you remember that article? Yes? All right. So today in the editorial section, we have breaching the target. They're saying the inflation indicators, what are they saying and where India is going? Where is Indian economy going? That is what they're trying to tell us. And retail inflation, we discussed, has gone 4.4, and we know that we try to keep it between 2 to 4, right? All right. Exam economy, that's right. So now they're saying that if retail inflation is so high, has breached RBI's target, that is 4%. RBI generally keeps a target that we will try to make it under 4% so that it never crosses that threshold. But now it has crossed the threshold and it is rising to 4.38% in June and 3.93, it was 3.93 in May. All right. And WPI is also elevated at 9.87, right? Yeah. So now, in this situation, what are the primary macroeconomic drivers that are making this happen? We yesterday discussed imported inflation because of the large scale imports that we are doing, our import dependency. Then currency depreciation is also a part of it, because sharp depreciation of Indian rupee has intensified the price pressure also, right? Along with that, they're talking about sector specific structures, what are impacting them? Because of fuel, we know transport has taken a hit. Transport and logistic inflation has gone more than double. Food and agriculture inflation because of West Asia crisis, fertilizer unavailability, plus El Nino. Everything combined has led to large scale food inflation, risking food security also, right? Then commercial spikes are also there, commercial spikes because LPGs and gold and silver, everything is taking a hike. So they're saying, the question they're raising is, why is RBI not coming up with a monetary policy at this point? By this time, if inflation rises to such, or if such things are happening and they're going out of control, generally what happens is RBI comes up with a monetary policy, right? MPC, that is Monetary Policy Committee, generally comes up with open market operations, monetary policy, something to control this. Have they not been doing that? Are they not making changes, or will that not have any impact? What is the problem here? Okay. So understand, when do we bring down monetary policy, right? We know about Monetary Policy Committee. Yes, we are aware about the Monetary Policy Committee. Yes, yeah. But as you can see, recently no interest rate cuts have been done. No interest rate cuts have been done recently by RBI or Monetary Policy Committee or anybody. Right. So there was a relief from late June ceasefire, but still in today's measures, nothing has been done as such. So they are saying that with persistent upstream pressures making a return of 4% target, it is unlikely that we come down anytime soon. Right. So there is no room left now for MPC to cut interest at its August meeting. Already we have gone to a large scale. Now, even if we try to control that, what will we do? What do we do, like open market operations or monetary policies? If we even change the repo rates, or if we even change something, let's say they change the repo rate. Okay, let's say they change the repo rate, they decrease the repo rate. When do we do that? When do we decrease the repo rate? We want people to have more money. When we want people to have more money to spend, right? That is the time when we do what? Decrease the repo rate. When do we increase the repo rate? When do we increase the repo rate? When we want to have people, to have less money to spend, right? How does that happen? How does this happen? Repo rate increases. Repo rate means the rate at which banks take money from RBI. Banks take money from RBI, right? This is repo rate. And if this is low, that means banks are getting money at low cost, right? If they are getting at low cost, they will be able to give people at lower interest rate. If they are giving at lower interest rate, people will take the loan at that time. They will take their home loan, they will take their car loan, they will take their personal loan. If the interest rates are low, they will think that we need the money anyway. So why not take it now when the interest rates are low, right? So if they take the money, if they take the loan, they will have more money to spend. They will spend on car, they will spend on weddings, they will spend on giftings, they will spend on education, they will spend. Circulation of money in the economy will increase. If we reduce the repo rate as a reverse to that, that means banks get money from RBI at a higher interest rate. So now banks will also give at higher interest rate. So people will not take loans, right? People will hesitate from taking loans. That means they will not have much money to spend in the economy. Clear? In both these scenarios, which one of these do you think can work in this particular situation that we have now? In today's inflation, which of these can work? Exactly. In today's situation, which of these can work? Increase or decrease? Increase or decrease? Which of these repo rate do you think can work? No one will work, right? Why? Just understand this. At this point, our maximum inflation is coming from uncontrollable factors. Maximum of the inflation is coming from uncontrollable factors, right? What are these factors? West Asia crisis, monetary depreciation or currency depreciation, right? And thirdly, El Nino. None of these factors are what is in control of India. Monetary depreciation earlier we used to do on our own. When MPC decided that we need to devalue our currency so that we have better import and export, that was done on purpose. When it happens on its own because of international currency values, it is out of our control. West Asian crisis, out of our control. El Nino, out of our control. None of these factors are controllable. We only bring down MPC when the inflation is increasing, where at least a part of the inflation is from controllable factors like demand, supply, right? Inflation. The little bit of inflation that you have, that is also controllable, right? In that situation, we can do this. In that situation, we can do this. In this controllable factors. But under uncontrollable factors, even if we do this now, people have money, they are spending. People are still buying gold. People are still buying silver. People are still buying copper. People are still buying fuel. Have you stopped traveling? Nothing has stopped. Take a look at it. Take a look at it. In the controllable factors, what happens is people push back the demand. People push back the demand because they don't have the money. At this time, even in this inflation, because it is on such basic indices, on such basic products, that we cannot actually stop the demand. And if we don't stop the demand, people are still giving money to the economy. And if they are giving money, why would they take loan? They have the money. It is just that the things are expensive, right? And if decreasing is like anyway out of question. Decreasing is like anyway out of question. Do you understand that? People will think before spending. Then economy will not get a push up, right? If you don't spend during inflation, economy takes a strong hit. How will there be a circulation of currency in economy? The less the circulation, more the depreciation of the currency. If you decrease the circulation, if you just think that, okay, let's stop spending money, there will be less circulation of money in economy. That will anyway lead to more inflation because it is not about demand and supply. Are you getting a relation to that? Are you getting the paradox here? The paradox is that MPC cannot do anything now. MPC cannot do anything now. This will come down naturally when it does. All we can do is through welfare schemes, we can support those people who are not able to afford the basic services because of the high inflation, but there is nothing else we can do right now, right? Yeah, there's nothing else. Internationally, if we can try something, maybe, but then again, it still depends upon other countries, and our currency value is also depending upon the international standards. El Nino, we can do artificial rain, but we don't have that kind of money to do rain all through India. And if we do in some parts, states will kill each other. States will kill each other because the other one is getting rain, and why am I not getting the rain? Because my agriculture is not important. Where will you do the rain? To do it on entire India, we don't have that kind of money. To do it in parts, states will come at throats, come at each other's throats. That is what will happen. So there is no such direct solution to this. There is no such direct solution to this. So please be careful. Please be careful. Spend, but spend wisely. I'm not saying don't spend. If you don't spend, economy will take further hit. So please spend, but spend wisely on things that are important. Not random spending. Please don't do that. In the coming times, if situations continue, inflation can be very bad. Please take care of yourself and your family and be smart at it. Be smart at it. Okay. Exactly. All right. Is this clear? This is a very small article, but I wanted you to have a connection because this is a great paradox, that only great economists like I think Dr. Manmohan Singh could have solved, but sadly he is not among us anymore. So we'll have to wait for some other hero to step in and decide something. Maybe Raghuram Rajan might be able to come up with something, or any other RBI governor might be able to come up with something, because we have had great economists in our country, but we'll have to see what happens. All right. Okay. Moving forward to our next article, that is, it is not all bad between India and Pakistan. I loved the title. I mean, I loved the title. The moment I read it, I was like, oh, I have to discuss this. I have to discuss this. What good can somebody bring forward between India and Pakistan, and that too in an editorial written so long? Amazing, amazing. Because generally we are so biased towards it. If somebody asks us regarding good between India and Pakistan, we'll go blank. Imagine you're sitting in the exam and a question pops up where they're asking what is good between India and Pakistan. You'll go blank. I can assure that you will go blank in that pressure. You won't be able to think of anything apart from singers. Apart from singers and Pakistani drama, I don't think you will be able to think of anything, right? Government कुछ कर नहीं रही है, बस महंगाई बढ़ाए. That's what I told you right now. इसमें government क्या करेगी? Government कुछ कर पाती तो करती ना. Just get the point. Don't talk like a civilian. Don't talk like a civilian who is sitting in the park randomly discussing about their next, polo club or their kitty party, and don't talk like those people. You are going to be administrators. Think straight. Please think like an administrator. Don't think like a civilian. You're done with that. Rise above that. Rise above criticizing government. Rise above favoring any political party. Rise above that. Please, your answers will get affected. Trust me, even if you know that or not, even if you do that knowingly or not, आप करना चाहते हो या नहीं, आपकी ये सोच आपके आंसर में उतरेगी. Please believe that. The thought process that you have, it will be reflected in your answers. Please try molding it into the thought process of an administrator and not of a civilian. Please change that. It is very necessary. You can be an ultimate civilian, that's fine, but as an administrator, you cannot behave like a civilian, okay? Yeah, but if you still want to behave like a civilian, don't work for an administrator. Don't work towards administration. No matter if you are educated, I have seen educated people being andhbhakts, right? No, it doesn't matter. You have to think like an administrator because you're working for people. When you work for people, you work towards that direction. So please change that. Please change that. It is very necessary. Trust me. It is not just because I want you to alienate politics from your articles, or I want you to alienate politics from your thought process. No. No matter how hard you try, this thought process gets reflected in your answers or in your interview. They're very smart. They're very talented people sitting there. They're very smart to guess what kind of thought process you have. Please don't make that mistake. Please don't. Right? All right. It is not all bad between India and Pakistan. As usual, we are doing it through mind map. Let's understand what is happening. We're talking about it under different segments. 8 segments we have. Number 1, we are talking about wars with restraint. Wars with restraint. Okay. Yeah. So during 1947, 65, 71 wars, both the sides avoided targeting major cities and civilians. See, this will give you a positive effect. I'm not agreeing with this. First of all, let me tell you, Pakistan issue is very sensitive for most of Indians. तो मैं आपको पहले ही बता दूं. Let me tell you that I am not in support of anything. I am not trying to support any agenda here, or I'm not trying to support any idea here. Read this, understand this topic strictly from the point of writing an answer. Strictly from the point, because when they ask good, you will not be able to write. 2 लाइन के बाद तुम्हारा कंटेंट खत्म हो जाएगा. You won't be able to write it because वो good सोचने के लिए हमको allow किया ही नहीं गया है. Our biased thoughts don't allow us to think good regarding India and Pakistan, right? And if the question comes about good, in the second line itself, you will fumble. You will fumble because you don't have that content. Look at this strictly from the point of answer writing. Strictly from the point of answer writing. I don't want any political agendas to be inculcated here. You get that? Before we start, please note this down, okay? Yeah. Let's move now. So they are saying that during the wars, both the countries prevented hitting cities that had large-scale civilian populations. Just as the war rules go, you don't hit the civilians. You don't hit the civilians, the people living there. You only hit the army. You only try to defeat the army bases, the cantonments. You don't hit the civilians, right? Both of the countries maintained that. Both of the countries, not just India, even Pakistan maintained that, right? Number one thing. The second is military operations. They focused on strategic military objectives only. And then they compared to many global wars, civilian destruction was very limited. The civilian destruction was very limited. Both the countries respected limiting the escalation. They didn't want it to escalate to nuclears. They didn't want it to escalate to killing all the civilians and wiping India or Pakistan out of the face of earth. Like today, you must have seen the statement of Trump, I will wipe Iran out of the face of earth. Have you seen such a statement? Openly, the US president is stating that I will wipe out a country. I will wipe out a country. This is the open statement. That is where you are only fighting to win, not to give justice, right? You only say that when you are fighting to win instead of providing justice to people. But in India and Pakistan, in terms of India and Pakistan, they're saying that nothing of the sort happened. Nothing of the sort happened. They maintained the dignity of the war. They maintained the ancient dignity of the war, all right? Yeah. Then again, we are not supposed to forget anything, right? We are not, so I just told you right before discussing the article, please stop doing this. Yeah. Then we have quiet security cooperation also. Intelligence is shared on certain occasion. They've shared their data on certain occasion. Pakistan has claimed against terrorist threats, including attempts on General Musharraf's life. Cooperation existed during periods of political tension also. Many collaborations remained confidential also at the same time. They maintained the dignity of it. They maintained the dignity of it. Yeah. Then diplomatic bridges have been there. Leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee had the diplomacy there. Manmohan Singh went there with the peace dialogue. Narendra Modi went there with surprise Lahore visit. Do you remember that? On birthday, that surprise visit, that was something that social media got crazy over, right? Yeah, then Nawaz Sharif, who supported the diplomatic engagement. There have been many efforts. These efforts have been collaborated into bringing a peace treaty so that there can be peace between the two nations and we can get out of the constant survival instinct, right? Exactly. Then we talk about nuclear confidence building. Since 2005, both the countries have maintained nuclear measures. They have that. They inform each other about military activities. 2022 accidental missile launch from India into Pakistan, missile launch from India into Pakistan was managed through restraint and communication. That was an accidental launch. We were testing, and that there was an accidental launch to Pakistan that could have instigated a war. A missile coming from another nation. Dialogues can instigate war today. Dialogues can start war today. In this case, we accidentally put a missile into their land. Just imagine the implication that might have happened, but they did not react to that. The moment we sent that communication that this was by mistake, we were practicing the launch and this has been done by mistake. Please don't take it as an instigation of the war. And this was settled through communication between India and Pakistan. Just imagine the two nations that are ready to fight any time. Between them, this was resolved through communication, right? A very huge deal, a very huge deal. Accidental, I know that is quite funny, but then again that happened, okay. So such mechanisms, they reduce the risk of accidental nuclear escalations also. Military restraint is there despite serious crises, Article 370, Galwan clashes with China, etc., etc. They have maintained LOC ceasefire. Despite all that, LOC ceasefire has been maintained. Military leadership on both sides have avoided escalations. They have avoided escalations and nowhere do they ask their army to start firing, right? Because this can lead to very dreadful actions. Then in terms of terrorism also, the biggest roadblock that we have is terrorism. The biggest roadblock, right? Kargil, Parliament attack, Mumbai, then we have Uri attack, Pulwama, Pahalgam, all these. All the peace initiatives suffered after terrorist incidents. We had all these peace initiatives, all this correlation, cooperation, but that suffered because of terrorism. Everything is suffering because of the support of terrorism, right? I guess accident. Well, it was accident. Come on, don't do that. It was accident, really. Have some faith. All right. 7 areas for future cooperation. What are the areas where we can have more cooperation? How we can deepen our ties? What are those areas? First of all, we have communication. Basic thing is communication. If you keep talking to each other, if you keep the negotiations going, if you keep the communication going, a lot of things can be resolved. A lot of things can be resolved. Secondly, trade and economic activities, connectivity. If you keep drawing trade and economic connectivity, countries' dependence is good. If they are dependent upon each other, they will very rarely fight each other, right? The dependence causes that. Then climate change and all that in Himalayas and all that we can cooperate. Water management, anti-drug trafficking, regional stability, all these are the segments where we can work together and build our cooperation, right? Lastly, what is the key takeaway from here? India-Pakistan relations are completely not purely hostile, right? They are working on this, they're working on this. It is not completely or purely hostile. Please remember that. All right. Even during wars, there are restraints often prevailed. Diplomatic engagements are going on. Terrorism is a barrier, but we are working on that. Then peace requires obviously that you have cross-border terrorism, sustained, structures of it. So we have to work on that. But however, with trust, dialogue and cooperation, zero tolerance towards terrorism, both of them can work together. Both of them can be an example for Israel, example for Gaza, example for Russia, Ukraine. They can be a classic example for the world, right? Exactly. Yes, Pakistan accepted this was accident. It was genuinely accident. Do you think India would go and apologize otherwise? Do you think India would go and apologize otherwise? We gave an official apology to them that very sorry, this was by mistake. Please don't take this as an attack or war or anything. Please don't take it as anything. This was seriously a mistake. And the borders are so close. The borders are so close. When you are practicing there, you are having practice there. Some things are bound to happen. It is fine. It is fine. Right? Yeah. All right. Kartarpur corridor. Of course. I'm not saying India is not a good example right now. But if we resolve India-Pakistan, a lot of countries are benefiting through that. US is benefiting through that. China is benefiting through that. If we are able to, Middle East is also benefiting through that. If we are able to resolve this, just imagine how many of the international players will lose their pro player, right? Will lose this benefit that India and Pakistan don't go along. That's why they're using either India or Pakistan to bid against each other and keep us engaged while they keep developing, right? So that can change. That can change. All right. Okay. That is about it. This is an article for you to read. Yesterday we discussed regarding Kudankulam data leak. This is a case study from a different angle they've given you. Please read. Right? Please read this. Majja aavi gayi. Okay. So this is the serious, how serious the Kudankulam data leak is. This is a case study on that. Please read it like a case study. Very important for you. Let's move on to our practice questions now. Let's move on to the practice questions. Number 1. About semicon, etc. that we discussed yesterday. All right. The answer is B, not A, not D. The answer is B, 1 and 3 only. Second is wrong. Under NIPU 2006, foreign exchange risk is mitigated by converting variable cost into Indian rupees after 4 years. Converting fixed cost, not variable cost. That is why this is wrong. Rest of the two statements are correct. Moving forward to next question. Oh, that we discussed in yesterday's article also. Nuclear functioning has not been leaked. It is just the data. It is just the data of availability of components, availability of raw material, resources, etc. Yeah, we discussed that yesterday. Bhul gaye? Okay, give me your answer in the next question. Answer for the next question. All right, we have the answer C. The answer is actually D. All the three statements are correct. All the three statements are correct. Next. Brain is not braining. What happened? Why not? Why not? Why didn't you do yesterday's class? Go and watch it, okay? Go and watch it. I've also posted the video on India's first hydrogen train. I've also posted a video on Balochistan, as I promised. Okay, just go watch them. After this class, watch them, and we'll have new latest updates for you today. All right, the answer is A, 1 and 2 only. Very nice. Next. You did. Now you understand the issue of Balochistan? Answer the question. Answer the question. Thank you so much, ma'am, for everyday current affairs class. Oh, that is our work. That is our work. Thank you so much for joining in every day. Daily videos are in my daily routine. Oh, they will benefit you. They will benefit you. Very nice. B. All right, the answer is B, only 2. Very nice. Okay, so before we do the mains question, oh sorry, we don't have a mains question today. We don't have a mains question today, but still we have an information for you from the Karol Bagh and Noida Center. We have live online classes running for ISGS Foundation course, structured classes for prelims as well as mains, where you get booklets, capsules, everything. Then you have mains evaluation tests also. Then you have daily current affairs, monthly current affairs, magazines. For 3 years you get that along with test series. All right. All that in one package, that is ISGS Foundation course running online live from Karol Bagh or Noida Center. Alright, to get the benefit of this, you can join this from the Drishti IAS learning app or the Drishti IAS website, or you can give us a call at 87501-87501. Alright, that was our paper for the day. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you had fun learning the Hindu newspaper with us. Yes? Alright. So if you enjoyed the class, do hit the like button, keep sharing the class. Thank you so much for your love and support, and we'll see you tomorrow again at 8:30 a.m. Till then, keep studying. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.